No black cats, just straight facts.
Triple P certified.
Listen, we can talk about odds all day. It doesn't matter what the odds are. It matters what's gonna happen. Welcome to the Parlay Pursuits. Big day, big show. Not this one necessarily, but the one we're going to record right after. We have Joe Selecki joining the next episode. UFC 300 breakdown. He's going to talk about his upcoming fight with Grant Dawson as well. And guys, we're recording it tonight. We're giving you both episodes tonight. So if you're watching this episode, look to your right. We got another one right there for you. UFC 300 early predictions coming to you right after this. So we're going to break down Brandon Allen versus Chris Curtis 2. Another paltry offering from the UFC during March Madness, during WrestleMania. I'm starting to put the pieces together here, Dan. They're not trying this month because they don't want to have internal competition with ESPN March Madness. They don't want to have internal competition with their co-partner, WWE, who does Royal Rumble. What's it called? The WrestleMania. They're doing the WrestleMania. And, I remember the day when the UFC would purposely stack a card against Vince McMahon, purposely stack a card against Super Bowl weekend, against March Madness, against the 4th of July, Brock Lesnar versus Alistair Overeem. I mean, they were always trying to compete with whatever you had going on. And now it's like they almost want to hide under a rock when there's anything else going on. But we'll get into that. We'll talk about the shitty-ass card we just watched. We'll talk about the shitty-ass card that's coming up. And then we'll talk about a great card, UFC 300, Selecki, a great fighter, and it's a big night, guys, big night. So, Dan, Alex, what's going on? We'll start with you, Alex. How was your night? I know you, you were in the Discord. If you were there, you were hearing from Alex. You were communicating with him. Tell us, bring us in, bring people who missed out.
Yeah, it was a good night for me up until Aaron Blanchfield lost. I was up in there for $1,000, had a $600 cash out before the fight even started, and knew immediately I was going to lose that one. So it was really good up until then. Bad night of fights, but I did pretty well on the evening in terms of picks and bets, but wasn't able to close out. Bummed out, but we're on the greener pastures.
Yeah, I mean, it brings me to my first kind of item on the docket here. It's like, don't be a junkie. Alex had a $600 cash out on the table. He had $1,000 at play. How much did you bet on the parlays that, total, roundabouts?
Like $100, $150.
$100. So he could have 6X'd, he could have 10X'd, and he got greedy when they offered him 6X.
It's just like when you have the lock of the night is
what you could have done is you could have guaranteed yourself.
I had no idea Mannion Ferro would win. I didn't even think that was in the realm of possibility. Luke.
You must have been drunk. It was a lady fight, guys. We don't, you never know what these ladies are going to do in there. And Erin Blanchfield proved that. Obviously, she had her most success in that first round when she was able to engage physically in the grappling department, get that guillotine, almost lock it in, almost get it. And then it's like you have to assume you got a French striker in Manon Fiorot, and as the fight goes on, you got to assume that it's going to favor, especially in the grappling department and the ability to defend therein, you got to figure it's going to favor Blanche. But at the end of the day, she didn't really push the kind of like Colby Covington, Leon Edwards even Colby gave more of an effort, at least in that 5th round, to get Leon to the ground, and he got him to the ground and won the 5th round, you could say. So, I mean, Blanche didn't really rise to the occasion. And
I heard from a source, I have it on good intel, we might hear something about a little bit of doping. Not going to say anything that's been going on, but if you look at it, there was one person in there a lot stronger than the other one, and one person in there looked like a brick shit house.
She was big, though. You know what I mean? She was bigger than Blanchfield. And that's never been the problem for Blanchfield in the past. She's always been, because, all right, I'm watching the fight, and I have a bystander in the room, and she's saying, like, I don't know, that girl looks pretty big, Luke. Like, she looks pretty tough. In my head, I'm going, yeah, but she always fights against a more scary, bigger, bullier kind of opponent. But no, I mean, when you don't bring your whole skills to the table and you choose to engage in someone else's strengths, it's the opposite of the Georges St. Pierre method. It's the opposite of, the Sun Tzu Art of War method. Fight your enemy where they are not, Erin. And, this is a French striker, and you're taking her down, or you're not trying to grapple like you're a dog on meat. I needed to see Erin trying to grapple like she's a dog on meat, you know? But anyway, there's more important things to talk about, I think, from the night. And starting with the refereeing, obviously, we had some terrible, terrible calls that mostly favored us, if you think about it. But for me, picking against Cedricus Dumas and, also taking Ruzabov by finish, happy to see it. Happy to see him get the finish. But obviously this, Barry Copeland figure, he's like missing a lot of stuff in here, it would seem. And furthermore, the commission, what do they just not have instant replay in New Jersey? Like, it seemed like they were really just trying to keep that show moving. And I didn't really like anything about what I saw on Saturday night, from the refereeing to the athletic commissioning to decision-making on the fighters themselves. A lot of it, the only person and we'll get into it all, but what do you guys think about, the first eye poke that led to a finish in Ruzabov, versus Cedric Dumas? Dan, you haven't said a word. Let's just actually ask Dan how he's doing. It's been 6 minutes, guys. Don't fucking get on.
Well, let me say this. I just want to say something about Alex, poo-pooing these fight cards and just fight fans in general. I've heard a lot of talking down on these cards. No, every fight card is good, okay? Stop complaining about the fight cards. They're good betting-wise. They're good for entertainment. There'll be people on the cards that you've never heard of, most likely, and in the future, they're going to be good. They're going to be on the pay-per-views. Every fight card is good. Stop complaining. They're fun to watch. They're better than whatever you got going on entertainment-wise outside of the UFC. So let's start there.
No, it's not, Dan. Hold on, Luke. Hold on. No, because then you got guys like Benoit Saint Denis who light it up on every single UFC Apex card, and you think he's going to hit the next level. No, thank you, sir. All these people in this Apex fight night world get bashed by the top 10 every time, and it's not even like fun anymore. This isn't fun. I'm not enjoying these fights. I'm not enjoying the product. I'm not enjoying the refereeing. It's all terrible, Dan.
Well, if it's that easy to predict, then you should be enjoying your gambling winnings and then just going off of that. So either way it goes, you should be winning.
All he had to bet was $100 on Matt and Fury.
All I can win on is a pay-per-view. I can't win on these Apex cards.
You could have. You must have been drunk. You were not making proper decisions. You didn't make. Yeah, that was crazy.
It's always on you. It's always on you as the gambler.
Everywhere you go, there you are. And so
I'm not talking about from a gambling perspective. Those fights objectively sucked.
No, they're not. They were fun to watch. They're all fun to watch. I loved watching Chris Weidman eye poke the shit out of Bruno Silva. That was fun to watch. That is cool.
All right, listen.
That's better than anything else that's going on.
I know I said let's rush through the show because we have a lot to do tonight, but slow it down a minute, okay? I need to talk about this.
I'm amped up.
Dan, objectively, I can agree with what you're saying, all right? The only reason I'm disagreeing is because I'm not falling for it. Like, in the sense that I'm not falling for if we let it happen like this, it's going to get worse. You know what I mean? So we have to at least have a little bit of pushback because, like I said,
the eye pokes?
No, with the quality of cards. And I'm saying, like, we can't just throw away the whole month of March. We can't just have the whole month of March be headlined by fights that the people in there don't even know why they're there. Marcin Tybura wins and is like, yeah, so I don't know. I mean, this is crazy. Like,
bro, what do you want them to do? We can't even come with a good headliner for UFC 300, but you want every single non-pay-per-view card to be amazing. How many awesome fighters do you think there are on the UFC roster? There's not that many to fill up every single card.
Did we need 14? Did we need 14 fights in it for the prelims to start at 7 p.m.? I mean, don't watch those first couple. I'm up until 2 in the morning. I'm up until 2 in the morning the night before Easter.
Well, that's a different issue. That's a different issue.
For a fight that I thought was a title fight. I thought I literally am so dumb and so disconnected from the women's division that I'm going to this fight like, yeah, this is for the title. And then I'm like, it's for the fucking vacant title. It's for the vacant title that Amanda Nunes left behind. And then
not even the right weight class.
I know. I'm like, it's got to be for a belt. It's a main event in a actually like a full arena. I'm like, it's got to be for a title. And then we get there. I'm like, wait, Amanda Ribas is the champion, or Amanda fucking Grasso? No, Alexa Grasso. Listen.
See, again, it also falls on you. It's always on you. So, okay, the gambler, the viewer. It's on you.
Even I, watching the walkouts, had enough common sense to throw $100 on Manon Fiorot. You know what I mean? when I had Buckley and Blanchfield, Buckley by finish and Blanchfield in the last ditch effort parlay. So I was going to win $888 if it's Blanchfield to get a finish though. So I really thought 5 rounds, French striker, she gets on the ground with her in 2 of the rounds, she's going to submit her, right? Like that's what I was thinking. I was like, she's cold blooded, But either way, I'm not mad at Erin. Like I can't be mad at Erin. I can only be. I'm not even mad at myself because I didn't get crazy. I didn't get crazy on the night. But here's who I'm happy with: Joaquin Buckley. You're the fucking man. Nate Landwehr, you're the fucking man. You know why? Because when I sat here on the last episode and I broke down, or maybe it was 2 episodes ago, when I broke down my new system that basically takes into account the effective rate of the Triple B certified picks, correlates it with the odds, and only allows you to bet on Triple B certified picks that fall within the profitability range of the accuracy rating of our picks, right? If you don't understand that, go back 2 episodes and go to the part that Alex timestamped, boring ass numbers, math talk. He timestamped it for you. You'll find it. And I explain everything. But basically, the odds on Buckley and the odds on Landwehr made him Omega, Golden, whatever you want to call them, Triple B certified picks. And those picks over the course of year 4, I went back, I simulated every single event, and you would be profitable had you blindly bet the Triple B certified picks that fall within the accuracy rating. So, yet again, back-to-back cards, since I've decided to check this, it's been profitable. And in this case, you would have been profitable on Joaquin Buckley and on Nate Landwehr. So, and the funniest part about this is those were the 2 fights that I enjoyed the most, just from an entertainment standpoint and from a, competition level standpoint. They were interesting matchups, but they were also entertaining. Landwehr made my night. I mean, that was the fight that made me get up out of my seat, feel happiness, we said that's how the fight was going to go. We're like, he's going to probably take a beating, but like, is Jamal Emmers really going to knock him the fuck out? Like, he's still Nate fucking Landwehr. Like, and then I'm like, he's a marathon track runner. Like, he's going to still be there in rounds 2 and 3, motivated. Like, and that's the thing about Landwehr. You got to combine his cardio with his level of motivation and his, I was going to make a joke and say, and his level of intelligence, because he's like kind of like, a Southern dumbass. But he's not really a Southern dumbass. He's a college educated man, and I respect the shit out of him. So I would never really buy into the character and sit here and call him dumb. But what I'm trying to say is that he has little to no self-preservation instincts. So he will still fight hard as fuck, even if he's taking damage. And it's exactly how the fight played out. It's exactly how it played out. It was beautiful to watch.
Yeah. I'll be honest. If you watch the episode, I'm on Jamal Emmers until the very end because at my heart, I'm a Nate Landwehr fan. So I switched on the show. As far as my bets, I had Landwehr sprinkled in, but I had a lot of Jamal Emmers. As my parlay is shaped up, I really needed Emmers to get the win. That's for the people who are on the Patreon.
Yeah.
But dude,
that's why you're my favorite.
No, hold on. Let me finish this point. I'll let you go. Emmers, what are you doing, man? He comes out guns a-blazing. That's not how you beat Nate Landwehr. He's going to end up on top at the end of you shooting all your shots there. The way that Emmers would win would be play it smart, be the smoother striker from the outside, things we all know. He comes out guns a-blazing, and of course, Nate Landwehr is going to eat all of that and come back 2 times stronger, which he did, and he got the win. So as a fan, I'm happy for Nate, but man, I wish I just stuck to not even my initial guns, because again, I was really more on Emmers than anything, but my heart got to me, and I should have stuck with my heart.
Dan, and here's why you're my favorite little dumbass in the world, because like you'll take Nate Landwehr against Danny Gay, where like you'll you'll literally ride these dogs to death, and then the one time you can be right about it, and
not even true. So much misinformation here. I picked Danny Gay. Go back to the record book.
All right. Well, let me say this, Alex. Dan, nickel's worth of free advice, because I like your strategy sometimes of like using the airlock Titanic method of like, okay, yeah, I bet on Landwehr, but I'm not going to put a fucking underdog in every single one of my parlays. So let me put Jamal Emmers in some of them, right? Here's what I would tell you to do, especially when those picks aren't the ones you gave on the show. When you get to that point, use the fact that Emmers is the favorite to set up more. Look at those Emmers parlays and go, okay, so if Emmers, like I'm going to hedge a little bit more towards Landwehr here. If you see that you're over leveraged on Emmers, build a couple more with the same picks that are after Emmers, but with Landwehr, right? So that you can be like, kind of like, because you're only doing $5 and $10 parlays. So, with a big underdog like Landwehr, you're going to still have, profitability all the way to the top if they hit. But then, obviously there's always risks with gambling. Obviously,
of course.
That being said,
at the end of the day, you do have to
the only thing you should gamble on is, in my opinion, at this point, the only thing you should gamble on is the Triple B certified picks that fall within the implied odds that are better than 67% accurate, and let yourself be the judge of how much profit you want to take, right? Because it's literally a math equation. It's okay, a Trophy certified picks over 2 years are 67% accurate. So any pick that is a Trophy certified pick that falls in the implied odds of 67%, I'm looking at, right?
And for people who don't know, what is that range? Like, what is the odd range?
67%, I believe, correlates to -165. I can tell you exactly right now. Hold on, let me just go to. But while I'm doing this, shout out to Nate Landwehr. You're the fucking man. Whoop my ass and see what happens. That was the best line of the night. I mean, and then let's get into Chris White.
What about Andre Petrosky?
Yeah, we got to talk about Petrosky
yourself out to a whole new level.
And I actually have to say this. This was the first fight of the night. I was very passionate about this point, and I wanted to make it on the show. But here's the thing: I essentially, all the fights happened, and now I'm not as passionate about it. But at the time, I was so mad at Tyson Chartier. I'm like sitting there watching his fighter just take a fucking punching bag's ass whooping. And by the way, that was how he got into the UFC. He was on the Contender Series. He took a fucking ass whooping, lost the decision, but Dana White let him in anyway because of how tough he was. So that's how he gets into the UFC. Then he's into the UFC, and he gets the shit beat out of him by Colin Loughran and is uncompetitive as all get out. All of a sudden, like, I get so mad at Tyson Chartier in this because I'm thinking about Calvin Kattar taking his beatings, even against Giga taking a beating, even in a fight he wins, even against Max Holloway getting
Connor Matthews later in the night.
Who?
Connor Matthews later in the night.
Connor Matthews later. And I'm like, I hate Tyson Chartier so fucking much. And I'm like, I want to do a celebrity boxing match against Tyson Chartier. I want to celebrity box Tyson Chartier. So open challenge to Tyson Chartier, celebrity boxing. He might be good. I don't even fucking know. Like, he's a coach. I'm sure he's probably good. But I want.
I'd imagine. I'd go on to reckon that he's boxed before.
I would.
Which you never have.
I get the boxing ball. Give me
not officially.
He looks like a little porker every time I see him. He looks like Porky Pig with a beard. But I'm just so sick of him. It's like, you know that sign that said it was like for a good time call, like on a bathroom stall, for a good time call number. For brain damage, call Tyson Chartier's number. Like, you want to learn how to take a fucking ass beating and like be there for all the 5 rounds of it, I guess. I don't know. Like, that's what he can teach you how to do. That's the one thing I'll give him. He can teach you how to take a fucking million shots to the dome over the course of a fight. That's what he can teach you how to do. So, fuck you, Tyson Chartier. All right. Jacob Malkoun, Andre Petrosky. I want to hear his response. I mean, just like objectively, your fighters get the shit beat out of them every time they go out there. You can't even teach them how to defend themselves.
Defend yourselves at all times.
Your rebuttal at the press conference before a celebrity boxing match. That's how it'll go. But Alex, Andre Petrosky, man, it seems like something's cursed. Like, he's got, like, every week he goes in there, Gerald Marshark can't finish him. Goes in there against in this fight and gets knocked out with Malkoun's thick ass bony hip. And then Malkoun kicked him while he was down.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Which was awesome that he just punted him like that. I love that. There should be more punts in the game. Is Luke very glitchy for you? I'm having a hard time.
He's very glitchy. I hear him well, though. You're fine. You're fine.
Okay. All right. Well, yes, Andre Petrosky knocks himself unconscious and then gets punted by Jacob Malkoun. Absolute excellent TV. One of the only good fights that evening, besides, like Luke said, the Joaquin Buckley one.
We got to talk about fight of the night. The Pleasure Man.
That was a bullshit stoppage. The Pleasure Man was coming on late. I think the Pleasure Man, that goes to the decision. The Pleasure Man ends up winning.
I was watching that
fight.
So it was my so we had company, and I'm watching.
And Luke, the curse with Andre Petrosky is the hammer and sickle on his fucking ribs.
That's what it is. That's what he said. Yeah, because what is with that communist shit? I know, right? It's like he's rocking that communist fucking tattoo, and it's like, read the Gulag Archipelago. If you read the Gulag Archipelago, you will find out that communism, it's not all just sharing potatoes, mister. Miss Piggy. I love Miss Piggy. Okay, so no, Kermit doesn't love Miss Piggy. She loves him, right? That's the thing.
Yeah.
He's kind of like indifferent, I think.
Right. He's a G.
Yes.
Kermit was hella asexual, dog.
He's like that. Yeah, Kermit's got that Neil. He's like Neil Patrick Harris. You know what I mean? He's a performer. You know, he's a host. He's a host. Kermit's always hosting stuff. All right, listen. Malkoun, great. Aslan against Turkali. I'm watching that fight on my laptop, and like there's stuff going on in my living room, and I'm like talking to people and stuff, and then I'm like telling them, I'm like, I don't know who's winning this. I'm watching pretty intently. Like I'm only looking away every like little bit, but every time I look, someone's getting just smashed around. You know what I mean? Like they're both just eating shots, and I'm like, this is a great fight, but I'm like, I don't know how the fuck this is gonna get judged. I'm glad it didn't go to a decision because I think it would have been bad either way. Dennis Bazookia sucks still. Connor Matthews just sucks a little worse. Arce did what he needed to do to Burns. Thank God that happened. You know what I mean? Now the only thing that doesn't make sense about Herbert Burns is how the fuck he ended up knocking out Nate Landwehr at some point.
You know just right into a knee. He threw up a knee and he ran right into it.
He Petrosky'd himself. The hammer met the sickle.
Yeah.
So, all right. That was all very awesome. If you guys want to say something, just chime in. I'm just trying to get us to the picks real quick. So we got a big night ahead of us. But Godinez, Jandaroba didn't watch it. Don't care. McKee and Chukwi barely watched it. Didn't care. Who cares, right? Like, who cares? Like, I'm not going to sit here and cry my beer for Reese McKee. I'm not going to sit here and say that it was a robbery. I don't care. Move on. Bill Algeo, that sucked to see. That really sucked ass. But I was kind of feeling like Nelson is surging. He's the more hardy guy. Kind of
very hearty. Very
confident on it. He was Trophy certified, but didn't meet that, criteria. It's funny, right? Because the ones who, it's like the big heavy favorites that were Trophy certified, stay the fuck away unless you feel really strongly about them, like Ruziboev, or kind of Malkoun, or kind of Callan Loughran, right? Like, but the Algeos, the Blanchfields, the Silva. Blanchfield was kind of fine, but it's like Silva and Algeo were kind of like way too heavy favorites, like for their skill level, right? So let's get into Silva and let's get into Weidman real quick. To me, my history with Chris Weidman, I was a gigantic Anderson Silva fan. Loved Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva, when he fought Chris Weidman, I know people like Chael Sonnen say that for the guys in the locker room, everybody knew Chris Weidman was going to be a problem for Silva, even though he was a giant underdog entering the fight and everything, right? And Silva was surging. Personally, at the time, I felt, being in the chat rooms, MMA Linker, MMA Core, I felt from observing the public sentiment, Weidman was a fucking afterthought. That's kind of how I looked at it. Silva was just rolling. People were more concerned with other matchups for Silva, going up in weight, down in weight, GSP, John Jones, shit like that. People weren't really giving too much of a fuck about Silva in the middleweight division at this time. Weidman was just seen as an up-and-coming young contender, in my estimation, at that time. So he beats Anderson Silva in that first fight. He beats him in the second fight. It soured me both times. I never really felt like, yeah, Anderson Silva lost. You know what I mean? The first time I felt like Weidman got lucky. The second time I felt like he got even luckier. I was just so much of an Anderson Silva stan. I loved him. And I was kind of bitter about Weidman for a long time after that. But I grew to like him. I matured. I was maybe in middle school when those fights happened. Then I got to high school. I got to college. I matured. And I grew to love Weidman. I grew to love him. I thought he was great in the Belfort fight. I was already supporting him after the Machida fight, right? Supporting him. And then his career starts to take a slide, and I'm still supporting him. I'm still fine. That's still my boy. But he's getting old, and we've been a little mean on the show, saying like I'm going to pick against him because he's old. He's coming back from Bergen. Like his last two fights have completely tarnished his reputation in my eyes. There's no way I can ever even bear to see him on TV again. In a commentary desk, I won't be buying his products. I won't be supporting him at all now because the two things he said just go against my core beliefs, my core values. Not only was he saying that Brad Tavares shouldn't have done legal stuff to his leg and was surprised that Brad Tavares would target his injured leg. That right there was so bad, but he was still hanging on by a thread in my mind, respect-wise. This performance, this display, I'm disgusted. And the whole MMA community is. I mean, Chael Sonnen did a video about this, and Chael tried to play sweeper. He tried to play the wolf in Pulp Fiction. He tried to fucking play the cleaning crew and just completely rewrite history for the fight. I couldn't get through 2 minutes of his video. The headline was bad enough. I'm like, you know what? Sometimes Chael's headlines are deceiving. Let me just give it a watch. Terrible video. Absolute shillery, absolute, what's the word? cover laying for Weidman, right? Like he was laying cover for Weidman, which, you know, hey, we did it for Ben. We did it for Ben Askren, right? Wrestlers got to stick together. I understand. But Chael, you have a responsibility, and you have too big of an audience and too much respect from this show and from the community at large. I was ready to call for a boycott. I was ready to say everybody.
Give me a 10-second spiel. What he said. What did he say? I didn't hear.
He was just. I mean, he didn't acknowledge that Weidman poked him in the eye 6 times. He didn't acknowledge any sort of possibility that it could have been on purpose, or that he was warned, or that he did it to both of his eyes in the moment before the follow-up finish. Like,
so he literally didn't even acknowledge it.
Like I said, I didn't get through the whole video because it was so infuriating, and I just started to scroll through the comments to see if like anybody was like, and every comment was like, "Wow, Chael fucking covering for Weidman here, corporate Chael." Like every single person was like, "Weidman was disgraceful. That was disgraceful. You failed to just read the comments." How about that? Just go to the video and read the comments, and that's all you need to do. But point is, the MMA community is hating on Weidman big time for this, and the best thing about all this, guys, is that he's gonna fight again. That's the best thing. That he's going to get fucking clobbered.
Step up in competition.
Give him a title shot. Hamzat title. Paul Whitaker. I want him with Hamzat title eliminator. Honestly, Shavkat, Hamzat, anybody. Those are Shavkat's 170, but it's like, I want to give Weidman whoever he wants. You know what I mean? Whoever he wants. Get BMF title against, I mean, anybody really, I think, with
Sean
more
Strickland, DDP.
And, you know, hey, this is not
Israel
to take away from him.
I would like to see him against Israel Adesanya.
Yeah,
get revenge for.
He's coming up. He thinks he can beat Israel Adesanya.
Yes. He's like, well, he's just like Anderson Silva, and I showed him.
Is he too much of a little corporate playmaker too, where he would like not knock Weidman out, and he would do what he did in the Romero fight. He would do what he did, and you know what I mean. And then they'll be on a fucking Dos Equis commercial together, going like, you know what I mean? Like, it's all at that level. You got to always, you know. But anyway, so what I'm trying to say though is, fuck Chris Weidman from the IPO, but you know, also fuck Bruno Silva. Like he's still a bitch ass forever. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I mean? Like that was pathetic. He was gonna lose the decision. Let's be real. Like he was gonna lose the fucking decision to Chris Weidman. That's way more embarrassing than what actually happened to him. You know what I mean? At least now he has an excuse.
He did lose by decision, and you know,
right.
He did technically lose by decision. He didn't lose by knockout.
So it's like, okay, so they review it, they halt the activity, but then they don't deduct a point, and then
for the ninth eye poke of
for
the fight.
6th eye poke after the multiple fight stoppages and warnings. I mean, that ref should be investigated. That ref really, like, we need to have, guys. We have a free market in this country. Can we have a free? We really need a free market in the athletic commission. And I know it's communist regime. It's owned by the government. We need to get that to be a free market because there's no competition. You have people who are the only people who are willing to do it are fucking people who are willing to work for the government. Think about how much that eliminates your talent pool. Every single Chad or Alpha or Sigma male who is like actually a patriot and is like, I'm not going to work for the fucking Biden regime. They aren't going to do that job. They're like, I'm not working for the government. So
just like you got rid of USADA, get rid of the state commissions. Make a new one.
And institute a
rule-free MMA.
A private judging commission that is evaluated and audited in real time in the court of public opinion. And guess what? If the court of public opinion causes somebody to lose their job irrationally, their judging MMA or job or reffing MMA job, then I don't care. It's not like the consequences they go to jail or the consequences is they don't have any job. It's like, no, you just don't get
I'm watching the watchers, Jerry.
Very specific thing. No, everybody's the watcher. Everybody's the watcher. Do it on the blockchain. Do it on the fucking blockchain. So I can just blockchain it and then boom. It's all in the ledger. It's all in the ledger and everybody gets one vote. And it's like, I don't like Gary Copeland. I'll buy this crypto and he gets fired. Something like that. That's what I think should happen. It happens in every other fucking job. You do your job bad. You try doing a bad job at Burger King.
Zalgas Zumagulov, a great fighter by all means, doesn't have a job in the UFC because of the judges robbing him of split decisions in 4 straight fights.
Dude, it's like Luciferian oppositism. It's like the wrong thing is right and the right thing is wrong in this world. It's crazy. Anyway, we got to move on. Obviously, the UFC, the Octagon, it's a ritual, Saturn worship. Look into it. We got to move on. Chris Curtis taking on. Anything else to say? Nothing, right? Chris Weidman should be ashamed of himself. The celebration after, like fucking Tito did Chuck when he knocked him out at 50 years old. You know what I mean? Like the celebration, like Chris Weidman was that meme of that guy popping the champagne and then they zoom out and it's like you're on fucking third. He's in third place. You know what I mean? Like if you ever
He
seen
a guy on a 4-fight losing streak, barely.
It was awesome.
I'm so happy he
Great
gets to fight
TV.
again. I mean, I really hope that when he fights again, he gets knocked out worse than Bryce Mitchell.
Is there such a thing? My gosh.
We'll find out.
We'll find out when it happens.
I want him to get knocked out so bad. I'm not gonna say it. All right. Even I have a line. Even I have a fucking line, everybody. All right. Brandon Allen, Chris Curtis, 31-10. Chris Curtis, double-digit losses. Number 13 ranked middleweight, taking on Brandon Allen, 23-5. One of those 5 losses coming against Mr. Curtis. I'm going all in. I'm going all in on Brandon Allen this time. I think that the reason this fight's happening is because of him, not because of Chris Curtis. He wants it. He needs it. He's on a 4-fight finish streak. He's locked in. He's dialed in, and he is going to beat Chris Curtis this time. He's not afraid anymore. He's delivered. He's delivered. Give me Brandon Allen.
Yeah, I'm going to roll with Brandon Allen too. I rolled with him the first time during this fight, and this is what actually led to Chris Curtis talking shit on us, I believe.
Yo, hold on. Can I say something real quick? This is a classic Lukey move. I went with Chris Curtis in the first fight. I picked Chris Curtis at underdog odds against Brandon Allen in their first fight. Now, and he won. Now I'm picking against Chris Curtis, and I did this with Izzy and Pereira. I picked Pereira the first time. I picked Izzy the second time. I think. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. Yeah.
But anywho, I think Allen is the better fighter. It's just a matter of if he wants to take this fight where he has no possible chance of losing, or if he wants to get into a slobber knocker, because that's what he did with Sean Strickland. That's what he did with Chris Curtis last time, and it didn't help him whatsoever. I think Brendan
Louisiana what?
Dumbass. I think that Brendan Allen has one of the best skill sets in the entire division, but the only thing that gets in the way is his brain. But luckily, guys, when he first came in the UFC, it was still developing. He was only like 23, 25 years old. Now he's 28. He's maturing a bit. I think Brendan Allen does what it takes to get this one done. Dan, why do you keep shaking your head down there?
Because you're talking about putting the fight to where he can't possibly lose. I'm assuming you mean in the grappling department. Chris Curtis has hips like you wouldn't believe, baby. You're not going to take Chris Curtis down, okay? He's got some of the best takedown defense in all of UFC.
Okay, regardless of he fought this fucking grappler? Nobody.
How about fucking...
Don't say Kelvin Gastelum. Don't say Kelvin Gastelum.
No, I'm going to say Adolfo Vieira taking 20 shots, going 0 for 20 on him. Okay, that's a grappler.
Adolfo Vieira's a jiu-jitsu guy. He doesn't know shit about takedowns.
Okay, well, that's what Brendan Allen is.
Every time Adolfo Vieira's ever been on the ground, they started there. He fucking got on his knees.
And Luke, is Louisiana a good wrestling state?
No.
It's actually
no. Okay. Is he a jiu-jitsu fighter, not a wrestler? Yes. Okay. Who has he fought? He's fought Paul Craig. He's fought Andre Muniz. He's going up against jiu-jitsu guys that he obviously has a clear advantage against. So if it ever got to jiu-jitsu, he'd be fine, right? He'd get himself out of trouble. And with striking, he's a way better striker than any jiu-jitsu grappling practitioner that he's in the UFC in general, but especially against who he's fought. So he's had these very advantageous matchups. Now it's Chris Curtis, the guy who's already knocked him the fuck out. He's not going to be taken down. It's going to be a 5-round fight where I have serious doubts about Brendan Allen's ability to complete a 5-round fight against a guy who's not a jiu-jitsu armbar guy. Okay, so Chris Curtis, he will be rocking him to the body for the first 3 rounds, if it gets that far, if he does knock him out, within that time period. And then once we go to the championship rounds, 4 and 5, Brendan Allen will be tired. He's going to be tired of, getting rocked to the suplex, and he will be hit in the head, and he will be knocked out once again. And if it goes to the scorecards, I'm confident that Chris Curtis will have more significant strikes landed there because he's a better striker. So it's a bad matchup. Honestly, I like Brendan Allen. I think he's very interesting at middleweight for those top contender guys. But styles make fights. It's not a good style for him. Chris Curtis for the W.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Next up, we have Damon the Leech Jackson versus Alexander the Great Ape Hernandez. Luke, what do you think about this one?
Oh, Alexander Hernandez all day. Not a second thought really needed on my end. I mean, Damon Jackson is good. Obviously, he's got some great wins, but he's just getting older by the day. And Hernandez is getting better and better by the day. It's the opposite problem. Hernandez is 31. He's right now coming into his prime. Jackson's 35. What do we know about the 145-pound division? What do we know about that magic number of 35? It puts him in an unbettable position right here. The odds are right. Line is right. I'm taking Factory X Muay Thai Coach of the Year, Mark Montoya, and his boy, Alex the Great Ape Hernandez. And I love that the Leech is back. Didn't he switch it to Action Jackson? No, he's the fucking Leech because Li Jingliang sucks. And this is the real Leech. I love Damon Jackson. Really do love him, but the line needs to be more like plus 300 for me to look at him in this situation.
I like that it's in all caps now, too, on Tapology. Wonder what led to that. I'm also going to go with Damon Jackson. I know Luke said he was going with the other guy, but I think he's going.
Don't confuse everybody here.
But I think I'm going to change his mind because Alexander Hernandez has no gas tank. Alexander Hernandez was this young up-and-coming stud, and what did he do? He got beat the shit out of by Cowboy Cerrone. Damon Jackson is far better than Donald Cowboy Cerrone. I don't care what anybody tells you. His only losses in the UFC, Billy Q, Dan Ige, Ilya Taporia, and some dude I've never heard of. But that was before the UFC. Ever since he's been in the UFC, those are the only guys he lost to. The new champ, Dan Ige, a perennial contender, and Billy Q. I mean, that didn't really age well after last week. But nonetheless, I'm going with Damon Jackson. I think he goes out there, and he has the gas tank to put Alexander Hernandez away via Darce choke in the third round.
Ooh, very specific. I hate this fight. Love it as a fan, hate it as a gambler. Reportedly, President Barack Obama once said, never underestimate Joe Biden's ability to fuck something up. And that's kind of how I think of Anthony Hernandez here. I'll go with the favorite. I just feel like what we have here is a guy who underperforms versus a guy who overperforms, right? You know, everyone makes fun of the Leech. You know, he's an old balding guy who's not athletic, but he gets wins. He wins fights. Whereas Anthony, you know, he loses fights where he's cruising in the beginning. I don't know, man. I really don't like this. To me, it's like it's favorite or pass almost. So I'll go with the favorite here, but especially at 145, I think it's a better division for him. He's going to be real big going into there. I think he's going to have an athletic and strength advantage over the Leech. So I think that'll get it done. But again,
what about when the Leech sucks away that depleted body that's already depleted from a bigger weight cut as this guy's getting older? He used to fight lightweight when he was 21, had problems cutting weight to lightweight, and now he's going down to featherweight as an older man.
I mean,
harder and harder every time.
Done it a couple times now, so I'm not too worried about that. I think that you're underestimating his gas tank. I don't think that's like the worst of his issues. I just think that like he quits at a certain point in time when it's like not perfectly going his way. And he's not like dominating. Like he's bad against adversity. Let's say that. I don't think.
What if I told you he's never won a fight at featherweight? What if I told you that he has never won a fight at featherweight? Alexander Hernandez.
Listen, dude, I get it. I get what you're saying. Like I'm not completely on this train. I think he's going to win, but like I'm not crazy about it.
All right, 0-2 in the UFC at featherweight. I tried to warn him. Guys. I tried. Billy Quarantillo got him out of there. Bill Algeo got him out of there. We saw how good those two guys are.
Yeah, well, again, styles make fights. Those are bad matchups for him. I think this is a better matchup for him. But again, a guy who underperforms versus a guy who overperforms.
All right, Joe Selecki's coming in 13 minutes.
I see what you're saying, but
yeah, let's finish up.
Morgan Shari, the last Pirate. He's got 9 losses. He's the minus 155 favorite. He's from France. Chepe Mariscal is on a massive win streak. He's overperforming in every one of his outcomes, and they're still disrespecting my boy, making him an underdog. Plus 130, 31 years old, 145-pound division. Missed weight in his actually, no, he didn't. Listen, I'm going with Chepe Mariscal, the underdog here. Much better underdog than Damon Jackson. Very similar value line. He's a workhorse. He's a dog. He's tough. He's got a better fucking gym, better camp, better team, better people around him. No physical disadvantages in the height and reach department. Last Pirate's going to get stormed, stomped, and fucking destroyed. Chepe Mariscal all the way. He's impressed me a lot. I'm going with him. If he can survive Trevor Peak, he can survive Morgan Cherry, who found a way to lose 9 fucking times. Make it 10.
Yep. Give me the machine gun, Chepe Mariscal. You give him to me at a dog odds again. I'm going to take him once he starts becoming a favorite and the secret's out. That's when we jump ship Chepe Mariscal all the way. He's been super impressive in every single one of his performances in the UFC.
Charrier, much better striker, never been finished in his entire career, which is what Chepe kind of relies on in a lot of these fights. He's not going to be taking him down like he took down Trevor Peak. This is a guy who's because he's just a better mixed martial artist. So, yeah, I'm going to take the guy who's a much more technical striker and doesn't keep his chin up in the air like crazy and doesn't get rocked all the time like Chepe Mariscal. He survives. He's got a granite chin, but when it goes to the judges' scorecards, we're going to have Morgan Charrier having much more significant strikes and getting the W.
All right, listen. Activia in the Discord, shout out to Activia. He said Charrier opened as an even against Chepe, and I didn't pull the trigger. He's on his way to minus 200 now. Guess I'll look at the KO prop when it drops, unless it's plus money when Chepe loses when he loses, it's by finish. Never mind, money is coming on Chepe. So it has KO. It's going like this now because people are trying to, correct. There's trying to be a little market correction here, but I think it should be a pick'em. You always got to value Chepe Mariscal's ability to eat shots and give shots back. I think it's a Nate Landwehr situation, just like last week, and I think we're going to see something just like that. I think he's cut from a different kind of cloth than Charrier. I also look at the chin jawline, definition. I think that Charrier's jawline looks a lot more fragile. All right, moving on. All right, we got
Iggy Bahamundez versus Christos Giagos.
Yes.
I'm going to go with Iggy Bahamundez. I feel like this is like the same exact matchup that Christos Giagos had in his last fight against Zellhuber, except I think Iggy Bahamundez is a little bit more dangerous, a little bit more violent, and I think he's going to go out there and finish Christos Giagos probably in the second round, later into the second round, maybe early third. Dan, what do you think about this one?
Not going to call a prediction on it, but I agree with you on the money line. I like Iggy here.
No, Dan, this is a pick show. You have to make a prediction on what do you think is going to happen in the fight. Who do you think is
okay, I'm not going to go finish because I think Giagos is a tough guy, but I think he's stiff as a board and relies on jiu-jitsu way too much, and Iggy Bahamundez is not going to be taken down, not going to be held down. He's going to be a way better striker. He's going to get the win.
Yeah, me too. I'm with Iggy, but not at the odds coming off that loss. He's still young. He sometimes looks a little complacent in there. He takes his foot off the gas a little bit. It's a typical story when you got a guy who's fighting at 155 and he's 6'3", 75-inch reach. He's going to tower over a lot of his opponents, and in the gym, he's going to have a lot of physical advantages that are going to bail him out in bad situations. Lacks a little bit of heart. Hopefully that comes with age and experience, but overall, his last performance left something to be desired. I'm going with Christos Giagos. Oh, no, I'm going with Iggy Bahamundez, but it's not a bettable line for me at this stage. More of a learning fight for me. I want to see how this kid, Iggy, evolves up into the next 3 years, and then I think he becomes, a contender. Not a champ in this division, but a contender. All right. Not a contender either, to be honest.
Next up, Lucas Bresky versus Walter Volker. Oh, this is Johnny Walker's brother.
It is Johnny Walker's brother, and it's interesting, right? So, I mean, I don't think anyone's cute enough to try to see a way to take Lucas Bresky here.
No chance. He the clean monster is gonna win. I don't know what he's doing in Russia, but it's better than
far from clean. It sounds far from clean.
It's a lot better than what Johnny Walker's doing in Ireland. I mean, one of them picked to shave their beard like a Dagestani guy, and the other guy's in Ireland at the pub
having way too much fun.
Yeah.
They don't have anybody like Johnny Walker in Ireland. I mean, he goes to the pub and he's like, oh, you need to find your friend. Hold on, he's over there. I see him because I'm not 5'5" and I'm 6 foot. I'm 6'5". So can you imagine being at an Irish pub and you're Johnny Walker just towering over everybody? I'm going to look it up just so that I'm not, citing false sources here. But
Dan, are you taking Lucas Bresky? This sounds like
I am. He is looking shredded. Look at them abs, boy. He's looking way better than used to. Thank you, USADA, for going away. Lucas Bresky for the win. I think that Johnny Walker's brother.
5'8" the average height in Ireland.
Oh, yeah, I can believe that.
So you'd only be like 5 inches shorter than average there. You should move.
Average height USA is 5'9" for men. So The global average for males, though, is 5'7.5", which means that Ireland is actually ahead of the average. Well done, Ireland.
Wow, look at that.
The famine is over.
We didn't PPP this one. Dan's taking Lucas
I
Brest.
know. I just wanted to put some celebratory stuff out there for Ireland.
Oh, okay. Fun.
Meatball Day!
Ireland, triple P certified.
Yeah, we got a lesser Johnny Walker. So, I mean, come on. Johnny Walker, also a Anthony Hernandez type.
So you're not taking Walter?
No.
Walter Walker.
He relies on the takedowns. This is a guy who's gone up against Martin Boudet and has some really good like UFC. Carl Williams, some like actual UFC competition that takes guys down.
You go against me in every single fucking pick, so I can take the lead at the final hour yet again for the 4th year in a row.
Fantastic.
And
I like this card. I'm into this.
You're thinking, are you a self-sabotager too? Like
he is. He really is.
Oh, please. Oh, can we watch this card together? What are you doing this weekend? Let's watch this card together.
I don't know. I have a wedding. I have a wedding for a mutual friend, and you weren't invited.
Who?
I'm not gonna say it on the show. All right. So wait, let's go through the full picks then. We have one more fight to break down, and then we got to go hop over and do this last episode. So I don't think we've had a single Triple B certified pick, but we'll go through them at the end. Trevor Peek versus Charlie Campbell. Very interesting fight. You got Charlie Campbell, who
dumbass.
He
certified triple P certified dumbass.
Charlie Campbell's a dumbass compared to
Trevor shit. Peek. Joe's gonna be here soon.
Yeah, we got to go in 5 minutes. But listen, here's the thing. Trevor Peek, I respect him. I want to take him here. I am so low on Longo Weidman MMA that I'm going to take Trevor Peek here. I'm not going to be on the wrong side of history. Trevor Peek out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. High on Tennessee, Nate Landwehr. Low on Longo Weidman MMA, Chris Weidman. That's my pick. Trevor
Tennessee is a big state. That's Chattanooga. Nate Landwehr is from Clarksville, Tennessee. All right, get it right. All right, you want to be Southerner.
Hey, they're both far away from Long Island, aka hell on earth. So I'm going with fucking Tennessee.
Well, they've been getting it done, and they've been shitting in my apple pie.
Let's go Titans. Let's go Titans.
I'm taking Charlie Campbell here. I think he's just got more ways to win. He can grapple. He's not afraid of the adversity that Trevor Peek is going to bring to him. Obviously, any fight that Trevor Peek is in, he has a chance of winning because he's going to give it everything he's got. He's going to throw some massive, massive hands at his opponent. So there's no layups in a Trevor Peek fight. I'm going to take Charlie Campbell. Obviously, be very wary of your gambling picks with a Trevor Peek fight.
Yeah, maybe Charlie will poke him in the fucking eye. A little trick Weidman taught him. Something he picked up over Weidman.
Truth.
Yeah,
I think these guys' IQ adds up to 20.
All right,
combined.
Give your pick. We got 3 minutes, and we got.
I'm about to. Can you shut the fuck up?
No.
These guys have an IQ combined at 20. I'm going with Trevor Peek. I feel like he's contributing a lot less to that than Chuck Buffalo. Oh, that's not Chuck Buffalo. Sorry, that's Charlie Campbell. I always have Chuck Buffalo on the brain.
That's Charlie Radke, baby. It's Charlie Radke, the rad one.
Exactly. I'm going with Trevor Peek here. If it was Chuck Buffalo would win this fight. But Trevor Peek beats up Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Let's go, boys. If you're rolling with me, I'm taking Allen, Jackson, Mariscal, Bahamundez, Walker, and Peek. Allen Jackson's a country star.
Allen, Jackson, Randy, Travis, Austin Powers, Colin Powell. Right, go ahead.
I got Chris Curtis, Alexander Hernandez, who I think I called Anthony Hernandez when I was doing the pick, and I knew that was wrong. I was like, wait, definitely not. Whatever. That's fluffy.
I'm going to piss before Joe comes, boys. I got to go.
Go. We're going with Morgan Charrier. We're going with Ignacio Bahamondes. We're going with Lucas Brzeski, and we're going with Charlie Campbell.
Hold on. Do them again. I wasn't listening.
Holy shit. All right. Starting from the top, we got Chris Curtis. We got Alexander Hernandez. We have Morgan Charrier. We have Ignacio Bahamondes. We have Lucas Brzeski, which I think is a character from The Godfather. He's like the enforcer. And we have Charlie Campbell.
Okay, very good. If you guys want the prelims, we're going to do that episode right after the next one. Join us in the Patreon to get that. Thank you all so much for being here. We're going to hop over. Make sure you tune into the other episode with Joe Selecki. We're going to talk all about his upcoming fight. Thank you for being here. We love you. I'm sorry if that hurt your ears. I love you. Goodbye, everybody.